everybody. I don't know if it's on. I think it's on. I've been away for a week and a bit, and so I'm trying to get back into doing these. I'm away next week again, back for 5 days and away again. I love the summer holidays, so I'm trying to do as much as I possibly can do now while I'm here to make sure I've got consistent content coming out. Right. So don't forget, MrSelfStorage.com. That is my newsletter. I'm going to do that every single day still, even when I'm on holiday. It gives me a little break from the wife and kids. It's actually, it's genuinely the truth. But nobody tell the wife. I love it. I just take myself off. I have a little beer and I do. Anyway, today I want to talk to you very, very quickly because my awesome VA, she puts this video everywhere, and so it's got to be quick because she finishes in 29 minutes. So I need to do this really, really quick. I am obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with Alex and Leila Hormozi. I absolutely love them. And there's a podcast and a video that I listened to about 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And it's lifetime value to CAC ratio. And I'm going to go through it all next week and really double down. But I'm going to give you the high level at the minute because if I'm honest, I couldn't believe that I didn't know this ratio. And do you know why? As self-storage owners and operators and management, self-storage is easy. It really is. It's one of the easiest industries I have been in. And everybody gets results. So we don't need to do normal business practices. Why? Because we're getting results. But that's not good enough because now I feel bad about myself. I feel like, no, do you know what? I want to be an all-time operator. I want to be one of the best out there. I want to be a good, best businessman. No matter what industry, I want to make sure that we succeed. And at the minute, I don't think in self-storage, we're doing the simple things right. And I guarantee you, most of the people out there, I've never heard anybody talk about this in self-storage. LTV to CAC ratio. Nobody's even talked about it. And like Hormozi said, he said it's one of the metrics that he obsesses over. He said, I obsess over this. And he was like telling us what's a good LTV to CAC ratio, and he was telling what's a bad one. And I was like, oh, I wonder what self-storage is. And I was like, wait a second, but then I this did that. I was like, okay, but if it changes this and the I was like, oh my God, self-storage is, excuse my French, fucking amazing. Anyway, we're going to get into all that next Wednesday. This other video will come out. Right, LTV is lifetime value of a customer, right? And CAC is CAC, cost to acquire a customer, customer acquisition costs, and then ratio. So LTV over CAC ratio. So let's start with LTV. Let's work out our LTV, and we're doing round numbers here to make sure. And by the way, he says that lifetime value, you've got to add in your cost of goods and your cost to service goods as well. So it's almost like your gross profit, but most people don't add that in when we're doing LTV. And I was like, yes, because it makes it look better than it really is, and it truly is. And he gives this example. It's an amazing, amazing training. It's probably changed my life, this one training. Right, so let's start with Willoughby. I'm gonna personally go through them all after this. I'm gonna spend a couple of hours going through all my sites and this ratio I will have every single month moving forward because I think it's that important. Right. And I've got 5 minutes to do this because it's not fair on Jojo because otherwise I should be working late. Right. Let's say the arguments say the revenue, this is XFAT. It's got to be XFAT, by the way. The revenue at Willoughby is 82,500, for example. When I was calculating this, I had 412 customers. I don't know what it is now. It might be a few more, might be a few less. Don't know. Right. So we divide 82,000 by 400. Right. And we get 200. I'll just double check this is right. 82,500 divided by 412 is 224 pence. Right. So then what we do here, then you look at your churn rate. What was your churn that month? There is other ways to get lifetime value, but for me, this is a very, very simple one. As long as you keep the criteria the same, it doesn't matter because it's all ultimately much of a muchness. So keep the criteria the same. Don't start using another model to do lifetime value and compare it with this model if you're changing the metrics because it just doesn't work then. Right. So let's say your churn rate. So we've divided 82,500 by 412. Our churn rate, for example, I've put 14% here, but your churn rate is not 14%. On a really, really bad month, my churn rate is 14%. But for a more mature site like Beverly, my churn rate is 4, 5, 6%. But I'm doing this worst case scenario. So the worst it's been for a long time, for like last 12 months, I think was 14%. So we've done that just to make sure we're correct. So divided by 14% equals 1,430. That's my lifetime value of a customer at Willoughby. However, what's the cost of goods? Well, with self-storage, there is no cost of goods. Yes, some Americans argue, but the cost of goods has to be the rent, and the rates because they're renting out space from you. Hormozi doesn't use rent. Hormozi doesn't use rates. So if he doesn't do it, I'm not doing it. Remember, we are a disciple of Hormozi. Love the man. I'm almost as muscly as him, almost as good looking. I have got a better looking wife. Sorry, Leila. Anyway, like to know me. One day I'll work with him. Maybe, if I wanted to. Anyway, right. So I'm not putting costs of goods because normally a cost of goods is like merchandise, for example. The cost of goods for merchandise may be £2 for a box, and then you sell it at £4, or it might be £1, whatever it is. So the cost of goods to actually sell that product. But for me, with self-storage, there is no cost of goods. So we're not including that. However, there is a cost of service for the goods because you need a salesperson. You need somebody to be there to answer the phone if there's a problem with their rent, or if a payment's late, or if I've lost a key and can't get in. So there is a cost of good service. And so we've got to add this in. And so you don't add everybody in your company up. It's just the people who work directly in sales to get the customers in the first place. So I'm going to use cost of goods as £10,000 a month. I don't want to be precise because it's not for the people who work for us, because I don't want to give out any numbers or anything like that. So let's say £10,000. And for argument's sake, we look after 1,000 customers. Again, these are just not quite precise numbers, but you get an idea. So £10,000 is cost of goods. So £10,000 divided by, because there's 1,000 customers in that. So what does one customer represent? 10,000 divided by 1,000. Just 1 second. Right, sorry, I'm back. To be honest, do you know what happened then? I had some pineapple for lunch, and I had some pineapple stuck in my mouth. I could feel it. I was like, get out. Anyway, right, so we need to know what our cost of the cost it is to service our goods. And so let's just say that it's £10,000 for the month to service my clients. And let's say we've got 1,000 clients overall. So that means it's £10 per customer. So, for example, with 412 at Willoughby, that means Willoughby, its cost to service them is around about £4,000, £4,120, somewhere give or take around there. I don't want to be precise with numbers because obviously there's some things I've got to keep, not because of me, but because of the staff, etc. And so we start this equation all over again. So 82,500 is the amount of revenue Willoughby has. And then we divide it by 412, number of customers. So that means we're earning £200 every customer at the minute, per month on average, at Willoughby, which is, I think, is pretty damn good. And the cost of goods, remember, it's £10 per customer. The cost of goods to service is £10. So we take that £10 away. And by the way, in the course as well, I'm going to do, for the next launch, I'm going to do a massive section about this, because I think we can utilize this formula to value other self-storages, because if their LTV to CAC ratio isn't very good, I know that I can improve it. And if you can improve this, then we also know what that site can do. But not only that, we know how much we can spend to acquire a customer. And that's why if the cost to acquire a customer is a certain amount, below a certain amount, we know, because of the LTV to CAC ratio, we know we can spend more money to acquire a customer. And he who spends most money in marketing wins. Simple as that. Right, so we know that it's £200 without the cost of good service. So the cost to service the goods, the customers. So that's £10. And by the way, I'm going to go over these figures again to make sure I've made no mistakes, because I think this is incredible. So that means it's £190 per customer. divided by our churn, which is 14%. It's not 14%, but the purpose of this illustration, 14%. Divided by 14% equals 1,358. So I need to write it down. I haven't got a pen. My pen's over there because I'm on the bar. No, I'm not drinking, but I don't know, my computer's here. That computer's not working at the minute. So the laptop fits perfectly here. All right, so 1,358. So that's the LTV, gross profit, if you like, included in that, as we spoke about before. And now we need to divide that by your CAC ratio, cost to acquire a customer, customer acquisition cost. What is a customer acquisition cost? Well, the cost per lead last month was £18. So the cost per lead was £18. I know that we, as a company, definitely convert at 25% on average over. Willoughby does better, and this is why it's so interesting to see the monthly figures, because Willoughby sometimes hits 30%. Other places don't hit as much, but as a company, we hit over 25%. So I know that the cost to acquire a customer, if it is 25%, 18 times 4 is 72. So we divide that by 72, and it's £18.87. That is mental. LTV to CAC ratio, £18.87. That is unheard of. And when your site gets mature, it's going to be over 20 times. That ratio, £18.87, is phenomenal, my friends. It's absolutely phenomenal. We're going to go why in other videos, why it's so phenomenal. But I just wanted to start the cogs, because as soon as I heard this, I was like, oh, God damn it, bloody hell. I needed to do this before. And it started my cogs all holding. I was lying in the Leila, just thinking about LTV to CAC ratio. Oh my God, so if it's this, we can do that, we can do this. Oh, what's Willoughby? Right, Willoughby's that. Wrexham needs to be up here. And then I'm like, wait a second, Mansfield, that means that we're Mansfield. I know how we can get to, because Willoughby's a more mature site than Mansfield. And so I know if we're hitting that at Willoughby, we will eventually hit that at Mansfield. And I start looking at Clough Road figures and thinking, wow. But what we've got to remember is different areas, different price points, different price per square foot, but we know what's possible. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, guys. I absolutely loved, and by the way, it's when I say cost of goods to service, the cost of service delivery. That's what the official terminology is. It's exciting, really exciting. I really enjoyed this. Hopefully you got something out of it as well. LTV to CAC ratio. What is your LTV to CAC ratio? As an industry, I would say we are far and away above most sites, most industries. All right, my friends, I've got to go. Love you, appreciate you. Have an awesome weekend, and I will try to make sure I do a podcast. I'm going to Wales. It's a poor Welsh accent. I'm going to Wales next week, and yeah, hopefully in the caravan. So we'll have a great time. And then, like I say, we're back for a week, and so I can do loads of content for a week, and then we go away. Alcudi, I think it is. We're just looking now. I love the summer holidays. All right, my friends, have a wonderful weekend. Let's hope the sun stays out, and I'll see you in the podcast soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.